Venezuela is the northernmost country in South America, possessing diverse environments. Its population is an amalgam of indigenous, African, and Spanish, with an influx of Italians and Portuguese, as well as thousands of Middle Eastern migrants. During its early existence, the country produced cacao beans. In the early 19th century, coffee became the dominant export product. By the early 1900s, both British and U.S. companies began to explore for oil. Oil and the profits that it generated gradually transformed politics and society. During the World War II, the country played a key role providing oil to the Allied nations. U.S. presence in the country expanded, including military missions, as well as thousands of expats who worked in the oil industry. January 58 introduced a democratic period. Left forces that had been involved in the ouster of the dictator were not included in the new arrangement. Some of them rebelled, joined a guerrilla movement that bedeviled the country for decades. As early as 1974, a National Security Council document concluded that if significant economic change did not take place, a social revolt loomed on the horizon. Despite rising inequality, the democratic government survived, earning the label of the model democracy in Latin America. In 1989, the government attempted to impose austerity measures. The country exploded in a popular rebellion. Hugo Chavez, a lieutenant colonel, rode the wave of social discontent and was elected president in 1997. Chavez asserted state control over the National Oil Company, a policy that was adamantly opposed by the opposition and eventually resorted to a coup against him in 2002. Broad segments of the population and even the military opposed the coup and returned Chavez to power. Chavez also charted a new course in foreign relations, challenging U.S. hegemony in Latin America. The U.S. increasingly saw him as a principal adversary in the region. He asked his followers to vote for his vice president, Nicolás Maduro, in the event of his death. Maduro was elected in early 2014. In March of 2015, President Obama declared Venezuela a national security threat to the U.S. and imposed sanctions on individuals. Worsened conditions in the country forced millions of Venezuelans to migrate. Immigration dramatically transformed the country. 6 to 8 million people leaving the country is now in reverse. People have found that the border is no longer accessible. Opportunities elsewhere are no longer available and are beginning to return to Venezuela, finding many of the conditions that they left previously. The first Trump administration imposed sanctions on oil sales. The Biden administration eased sanctions somewhat, expecting that Maduro would allow elections in 2024. Maduro and the government expected that the election would legitimate its rule. In fact, it did the opposite, because as a result of the election and the inability to provide the tally sheets, there was a discrepancy between what the government was saying and what the opposition was arguing. The election lacked legitimacy. The sanctions were reintroduced. The current Trump administration has fluctuated between engagement and a military option, imposing a naval flotilla in the Caribbean and trying to link Venezuela to drug trafficking, asserting the unilateral right to bomb coastal vessels. Venezuela continues to be a vibrant country with people who are not simply defined by the conflict between Washington and Caracas.